The transition of the Obey movement from the street to the internet brings up an interesting question. Can an underground movement truly retain its undergroundness if it attempts to publicize or represent the movement online? There are a few interesting examples of a general trend away from undergroundness towards mainstream consumerism on the internet. One perfect example is the Obey Giant movement. By looking at the various ways that the Obey movement plays out online, we will be able to begin to understand how Obey has changed and who has orchestrated the transition online. The question is, has Obey sold out by creating a clothing company and distributing it through the internet? And if so, was the internet the catalyst for this shift towards consumerism for Obey, or did they sell out long before they moved online? First off, let's look at the Obey official website, designed by the original founder of the movement, Shepard Fairey. Imagine you're learning about Obey for the first time, either after seeing an Obey poster, seeing a t-shirt, or hearing about it from a friend. Obey's internet presence plays an important role in framing the clothing line as an above-ground outcropping of the underground movement. And because Obey does not advertise its clothing brand anywhere else, the internet is truly the only venue for Obey to directly attract new customers. The Obey website essentially offers a condensed virtual tour of the ongoing Obey street art campaign, which creates an interesting dynamic. Users first visit the webpage to learn more about Obey or in search of where to buy Obey clothing, and are met with a grungy depiction of Obey's roots. The website makes a conscious effort to frame Obey as a cool, underground, anti-conformist movement. However, this may just be a sly way to introduce new users to the Obey clothing brand, which becomes just as cool, underground, and anti-conformist as the original Obey movement itself, obscuring the fact that the clothing brand is a highly profitable commercial entity. By doing so, the website seems to introduce new visitors to the Obey concept without sacrificing the underground, subversive nature of the movement. The website split up into 3 sections: news and exhibitions, photos, tattoos, and products. Because the emphasis is on the movement itself, rather than the website being a shopping mall for Obey merchandise, users are introduced to the underground side of Obey before they're offered access to the Obey clothing line. As a result, an interesting dynamic comes into play. People who buy Obey clothes may believe that the act of buying an Obey t-shirt is equivalent to participating in the movement. Ultimately, in the minds of consumers, wearing an Obey t-shirt is just as participatory as graffiti stenciling an Obey image onto a wall. So participants in the original movement have become customers, and customers have become participants. Speaking of customer dynamics, let's take a brief look at the form that Obey takes when it's actually being sold online and in fashion stores. Karmaloop and 80s Purple are 2 of the most popular underground fashion retailers online, and they each have a section devoted to Obey clothing. On both of these retail websites, Obey clothing is characterized as having been inspired by the original Obey movement, but not much more is done to further the undergroundness of the brand image. The sites simply sell the clothes with dozens of other brands. These retailers exemplify a facet of the online presence that Obey cannot control. By allowing internet retailers to sell their products, Obey is also allowing internet retailers to individually build the image of the brand itself. Similarly, there's further evidence of Obey losing control of the brand identity in the numerous fan sites and wikis that have been created recently. One of the most interesting fan sites is called a Posse Watch, an integrated Google map that allows users to tag locations on the map where they found Obey images on the street. As fan sites like these continue to pop up all over the internet, will Obey be forced to move away from its roots? On a larger scale, as Obey becomes more and more of a mainstream phenomenon, will the underground graffiti art, stencil, and sticker movement die out? It's hard to say so far, since Obey's breakthrough into the mainstream has only occurred so recently. But let's not be too quick to accuse Obey of selling out. Despite the fact that they sell t-shirts for $30, $40, even $50, their clothing does stay true to the original Obey mentality and message, which begs the question, when can we really accuse an underground movement of selling out to the mainstream? Can we judge Obey for attempting to spread its message of peace and nonconformity to a broader audience? Shouldn't we instead applaud Obey for trying to bring a positive social message to the masses? So what if they make money in the process? Fashion is an incredibly influential facet of pop culture. The Obey movement has embraced fashion as a means of social expression. As Shepard Fairey himself believes, as Obey grows, the t-shirt will become just as important of a canvas as the walls of the city.